this is, the plan is, we'll see how it goes. Gita values number 4. Oh, I just remembered. I'm supposed to send something to Yamuna Jivana, that paragraphs describing each of the Gita values. So better do that, but not now. Okay, here's Bhagavad Gita cover. Broken chariot wheel over there on the left, and some strewn bodies and a bunch of other things. This image of Krishna holding the reins, according to what Bhishma is envisioning, Parthasarathi, Krishna, holding the reins with one hand, holding the rope for indicating further to the horses, and Arjuna ready for action, as Krishna guides his chariot through the battlefield. So Gita values, this is a repeat from yesterday, but that's okay. Spiritual culture and its values, so the focus is on values, Gita values, and values has a connection with spiritual culture. And here's the connection, the iceberg of culture. Those of you that attended the Sunday feast class, you saw this yesterday. This image I got from Konteya Prabhu. Konteya Prabhu did a PhD in organization development. And with organizations, they have this term, the iceberg of culture. There's another one, is the lotus flower, and mud, and then the stem, and then the flower. There's another one. I like this one. So the tip of the iceberg is what we see, and that with the culture of a person or group of persons or an organization or whatever, there's behaviors, perceivable manifestations of their culture. But below the perceivable are the values. Commonly, values drive behaviors. And behaviors can also influence and modify values. Depends. There's an interplay between the two. So values for an organization, official beliefs, mission statement, things that people say are important. I mentioned this yesterday. Like, for example, Prabhupada's 7 purposes of ISKCON. We're all familiar with the 7 purposes of ISKCON. One of the purposes of stating your purposes is for the government to evaluate if you're making a filing for such and such, do your purposes conform with such and such type of organization? Prabhupada was applying for tax exemption for a religious organization. So first establish, and then what are your purposes? So he stated the purposes, and then got the tax exemption, for incorporation, and then tax exemption. So that's, the mission statement, official beliefs, the purposes of an organization, and that drives behaviors. And then at the bottom is assumptions, like, an assumption for a spiritual organization, for the Hare Krishna movement, is we're spirit soul. Values can change, behaviors can change, that we're a soul doesn't change. It's an unchanging reality. A conviction, implicit conviction, and so forth. So when there's nice alignment between those 3, then you have good culture. And when there's misalignment, then you've got a problem. We spent some time yesterday discussing these points, so I'm going quickly. Not merely information. Yes, there's information in Bhagavad Gita, but there's much more than information. There's wisdom and knowledge. Prabhupada made this distinction repeatedly. There's jnana and vijnana. Vijnana is applied knowledge. That's how he would describe it. And when there's applied knowledge, you get some experience. It's pretty simple. When you act in knowledge, something happens. Let's take Ayurvedic medicine, or any medicine. We say Ayurvedic medicine. I learned this from the from the first Ayurvedic doctor that I regularly was visiting, Pankaj Naram, and he implicitly first, but then explicitly explained, as our relationship grew, that faith in the doctor is a very important part of the healing process, not just good medicine, good diagnosis, but faith in the doctor. Because when you have faith in the doctor, it helps in two ways. You're more likely to do what the doctor says. And then there's the energetic part that you can receive, that which the qualified doctor can give is not just good diagnosis and good medicine, but a power of healing, a power of curing. So when there's faith in the physician, it helps the healing. It helps the whole process of medicine. Very important in life, certainly in spiritual life. So just a little sharing. Danadar Maharaj, some of you know who Danadar Maharaj is. Some of you may not know. He's a friend for umpteen years. And he, for half of those years, he's been sending out a weekly little message. And I asked him if he would be okay with subscribing me to his weekly message. So he sent one today. It's weekly, every Monday morning, very, very prompt. He has this little saying that he's been saying for years, that faith, let me get it properly. Faith is trust by experience. Faith is trust by experience. That wasn't the whole message for this morning, but it was a good part of it. No, we have our definition of faith from Chaitanya Charitamrita. Who knows the verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, the definition of faith? Shraddha Shabde Vishva Kahe Sudridha Nishchaya Krishne Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Krita Hoya. Vishvas is very similar to faith. Faith, Shraddha Shabde, it is said that faith is Vishvas Kahe. Vishvas is confidence. Faith and confidence are quite similar. That if I achieve one thing, all other things are accomplished. So I can just focus on one thing, and the Krishna Bhakti is the one thing, and all other things are accomplished. That's faith. Faith is confidence by one thing, so many other things, all other good things are accomplished. And this is, faith is trust by experience, which is it's a one-to-one correlation with Prabhupada's teachings. No surprise. Prabhupada's teachings, this Jnana Vijnana, it's similar. Prabhupada's explanation over and over. Science. Krishna consciousness is a science, it's not a religion. You've all heard it. Religion means a type of faith. This isn't merely a type of faith. It's a science, a spiritual science. And how do you learn science? How do you learn medicine? You go to medical school. How do you learn, be a lawyer? You don't just read a law book and you become a practicing lawyer. You'll be in jail. Or something. You have to hear. So you learn from an authority, and then you have at least theoretical. So there must be emphasis, Prabhupada's emphasis, there must be authority. For anything, there's authority. You disregard authority and you're in trouble. You're not going to get things right, but you also may get yourself in trouble. So there's the authority, then ultimate authority is Scripture. But now how do you realize Scripture? It requires practical experience. So it's true that when you act in knowledge, something happens. You experience something. And that experience builds faith. Simple. Just very practical, very simple. So Bhagavad Gita is wisdom that has some experience. There's knowledge or information, and then there's acting in it. And as one matures in acting and knowledge, it becomes, in information, it becomes more matured in wisdom and knowledge. So, many things in spiritual life, there's some definition of where we want to go, and there's some acknowledgement of where we are. And this is an illustration to show the distinction between the two. And there's a big gap between what we know and where we want to go for most of us. And that big space in between is scary. But Bhagavad Gita teaches us the gap can be crossed by Krishna's kindness. I'm going quickly because we did all this yesterday. This is just the warm-up so we can get to Gita values number 4. So here's Gita values number 4. From these devotees that put together the Gita values document, Acharya teaching by example. We discussed one of them. Acharya mam vijaniyan navamanyeta karhachit. Krishna speaking to Uddhava in Uddhava Gita. Acharya, teaching by example. Question. You're supposed to participate, so listen up, please, and participate. Why role models have left a lasting impact on our lives? Why? Underline. Why? Not who and what, but why is it? Who would like to volunteer something? Why is it? Now let me say this is designed not for a devotee audience, but it works for a devotee audience. It's designed for college kids, actually, to teach them, introduce them to Bhagavad Gita, and then if they want, they can have a Bhagavad Gita study group or something. So the language is quite simple, but the principle is fine. Why role models have left a lasting impact on our lives? Gangaraj.
So for me, perhaps I would say that the values that I hold high or that I aspire for, the values that I
Technology. Go ahead, just speak.
So the values that I aspire for is something that the role model practices or demonstrates, as well as is able to relate, or I can relate to that role model in a more approachable way.
In a which way?
In a more approachable manner.
An
Something that
approachable
relates
manner.
to me.
Meaning what or the who? Or
The
both?
what? Both, I would say. There's a component of both. So the what pertains to the specific values that I hold dear,
Yeah.
and those values that individual or those individuals exemplify in a manner that I can relate to.
Relatability is important. Mukunda, we got 2 microphones. I hope they both work. We'll find out.
I think that role models why they've left an impact on my life is because they've shown a lot of personal care and attention. And also they've been able to convey, in regards to Krishna consciousness, they've been able to convey the meaning of Krishna consciousness in a way that's particularly inspiring to me, like in a unique way, I would say, tailored way.
You used this word tailored yesterday too.
He was using tailored, yeah.
I'm used to customized, but it's okay. It's okay. I'm just remarking. Someone else. This is the why question, remember?
Good Maharaj, I was thinking of the previous slide, liminal space. It's similar to Ganganarayan Prabhu's. These are the role models are actually on that path. I can see that there is a way someone has actually either crossed or is crossing. So they're giving me the faith that, yes, this is the road you can go and you can actually reach where you want to go.
So that's a why response. You want to add something? No. Yes?
I was thinking it's because I think naturally for me, I might hold some people in esteem and therefore I look up to them. It's just a natural tendency to look up to somebody is what I'm thinking.
It is. Yadhyaracharachi Shestas, it's natural. It's natural in the world.
It makes the process or the concept more personal.